Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is currently Tuesday, September 4th, 2012, and this is Day 9 Daily number 492, where we learn to be a better gamer. In exciting news, I was invited to the Heart of the Swarm beta! In tragic news, I was invited 10 minutes before the show went live, so today we're just going to be doing a standard Wings of Liberty style daily. And tomorrow, Heart of the Swarm all day. Knowing me, what I will likely be doing is doing some 1v1s with my friend Tristan in a very excited way as we try to just mess around and kill each other in the cheesiest ways possible using the new units. Because remember, all that high-level strategy and all that amazing analysis and tactics for Heart of the Swarm can wait. A new game just came out, and as a gamer, the most important thing is to have fun trying to kill your friend in the most bullshit way possible. Yeah! It's like when TF2 came out and people were like, oh, what? Oh, the spy? Oh, I'll be that. Oh, let me try out this spy character. Excellent. So good. More relevantly, I suppose I should say, I have just finished the most unreal bender of travel ever. I am so tired. I can't believe it. Let's see. I went to Kansas City to have eye and dental surgery, then came back here to LA, then went to Pittsburgh for a wedding, then from Pittsburgh went to Gamescom for an event, came home from Gamescom and still did a damn fun day Monday. Then I also did Metadating, that show for Felicia Day's channel, and then I went to Raleigh at MLG, and then I went back to Kansas City to have them do another dental thing, then came back here, then I went to PAX, and now I'm here. Oh my god. I was really pleased with how the PAX thing went. The PAX thing was really cool. The Trial of the Zell Naga, for any of you who didn't know, it was a chance to give superpowers to the observers so they could basically mess around with the pros. And the Trial of the Zell Naga is actually, all the videos are up. It was hilarious. It was really fun. The production itself looked pretty good from the front. Like, for you, you're like, oh, there's like another show. From the back end, it was insanity. Oh my god. The truck with all the equipment didn't make it. So day one of the event, it was the day of the event where like, well, we don't have any equipment. We don't know where it is. Time to go out and buy a whole bunch. So we were like literally trying to duct tape USB cords together, like mail on mail. Who cares as long as it looks good on camera? And it happened. Yes. And a lot of you are thinking things like, well, that's BS. How can a truck not show up? This happens at every single event ever, no matter what. There's always something that goes catastrophically wrong that you don't learn from, that you can't prepare for, that just is. Aw, yeah. But I think that far and away the most exciting aspect of the event was an interview I did on Thursday morning. It's really cool. It was an interview for a public radio station, and it was scheduled at 8:35, and it was to promote the event, to talk a little bit about what it was, but a little bit about esports and why this was particularly a cool webcast because it's highly interactive. It allows the audience to actually be part of the game as opposed to just sit passively and consume. Had all that bullshit prepared. So I call up the radio station, and they're like, hello, this is a radio station. Who's calling? And I'm like, oh, this is Sean Plott. I have an interview at 8:35. They're like, all right, great. Let me patch you through. But let me just make sure I have your title correct. You're the Penny Arcade organizer? And I was like, excuse me? She's like, you organize PAX, correct? I'm like, no, I'm an independent esports broadcaster working with Red Bull to put on an event at PAX. And she's like, okay, great. And then patches me through. And then So all of a sudden I'm listening to the radio. And I don't listen to the radio. Just, I don't. I listen to my own independent music and stuff, and I listen to internet radio stations, but never like radio, early morning radio. And this is clearly designed for the ADD generation. This thing like cuts faster than Robot Chicken. I'm on there, and it's all extreme craziness. It's, again, 8:35 in the morning, and it's like... In exciting news today, a woman injected heroin into the forehead of her child and dumped the body over a highway. Over to John for the river. Or for the weather. For the river? I am so out of it today. Over to John for the weather. They cut to John. Well, it's going to be pretty sunny off in Seattle today as we try to get rid of those nasty clouds and live it up for once in this rainy city. Over to Phil with more news. Well, 3 women were shot dead in a drug escapade, but you know what? We got some special music coming up. Da 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 da. And then you hear some laughter, and one guy's like, well, that's right, Andrea. Today is PAX, where millions of gamers from around the world are uniting today in Seattle for the Penny Arcade Expo. On the phone, we have Sean Plow with us, who's one of the organizers of PAX. Sean, how are you doing? And I'm like, I'm really great. How are you doing? That's fantastic. Sean, why don't you tell us a little bit about what PAX is all about? And I'm like... Well, PAX was a convention originally started in 2004 as a consumer-focused gaming convention to try to fill up the space in a largely developer-focused industry. And I'm like, what the fuck am I talking about? And then I'm just like, but what I'm doing is an event at PAX. It'll be particularly kick-ass. And they're like, oh, kick-ass? Why don't you tell us? And I'm like, well, and then I talk like as fast as I can about the actual event itself. And they're like, oh, that's great. Too bad we're running low on time, or we'd love to hear more. Tell us, what's the website of PAX so we can check it out? And I was like, I'm pretty sure it's paxsite.com. Thank you, Sean. Bink! And it gets hung up, and I'm like, is that the right website? I'm like trying to check on my phone to make sure it's all right. But I think I nailed it. I think I did really good. So I did it. In exciting news, I'm really tired. My sleep schedule was totally screwed up because I was up really late at the PAX event, trying to make sure that everything was all right. So I was going to bed at like 7 or 8 a.m. and like getting up at noon and continuing to troubleshoot. And then I had an early morning flight, so literally I fell asleep at like 3 p.m. today and got up for a daily. Woo! Yes! Yeah! And I'm excited because we're going to be taking a look at CreatorPrime. It's going to be the Team Liquid Star League 4 is going to be this weekend. It's going to be the grand finals between Creator and Life. They are really solid players, especially Creator is impressing a lot of people with his top 3 victories in the WCG or WCS in Korea. And has basically been ripping down everyone that he has encountered. The only person who's really put up somewhat of a fight is Sting. And we'll be looking at some of those games today. Yay! Yeah! Yeah, so we're going to hop into it in a sec. Beta tomorrow and Thursday. I don't have it installed yet. I just got it. And I just wanted to note that there's some more cool stuff going on the website. Yeah! So over on this here website, you can go to your profile, and you actually have a profile now where you can edit stuff. Edit my profile, and I can do all sorts of awesome things like upload the same photo from the wonderful Z Motion that makes me actually look not hideous. Yeah! And also, other exciting news, invites are now open, so if you are registered on the Day 9 TV site, you can invite other people. So they can be registered too. Because it was a closed invite, and now it's a little more open. Okay. Let's go ahead and do a daily. I am going to try to do my best. I am freaking exhausted. I have been doing my focus. Let's be on. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the trial of Zone 9, Red Bull and Seattle. And now I just want to, like, be... I want to... So, hello to people like... Tiu Patus, who says it's his first daily. Sorry for being so tired. Now let's go ahead and hop into some gameplay. We have 6 games from CreatorPrime and Sting. So I would just like to note which game you'd like to see. Just type a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the chat. For whatever one you'd like to see, we're going to be able to do 2 or 3. We're just going to do some fun cold analysis, and you're going to let me know what you'd like. I'm seeing, let's see here, a lot of 4s and 3s and 1s. So great, let's go ahead and hop into game 4. Excellent. Now, first of all, I'd just like to note that CreatorPrime and Sting are jerks because they both chose blue colors. Now, I don't know if you've ever had this happen before where you are trying to do a tournament and one of the players was like, no, you know what, I like teal. I'm a really big fan of teal. And then you get this score overlay up, and if you look at the mini-map, it's like so unclear what's going on, and then all of a sudden they get into a battle and you have blue versus light blue. Let me see if I can actually change it. Damn. Make this bad boy green. Alright, the SCV is ready. So let's go ahead and do some analysis. Alright, so we're spawning on the map Antigua Shipyard. Let me make sure that my sound settings are the same. Okay, good. Sub. Yeah, so we are on the map Antigua Shipyard. The most notable formation that I think is of consideration for a creator is this spot right here. It's not a particularly complex piece of terrain, but basically having medevacs and marines here is terrifying because you drop up here or you attack up here, and meanwhile the Protoss has to do this little wobbly path walking all the way from this area down to this, and it's a real pain in the ass. Especially Terran just moves up here and then cuts back up. That's the real strong move, is to just do a poke and then to cut back and drop, and Protoss will have a freaking terrible time. Especially with Dos Immortos. Excellent. Alright, CreatorPrime doing some good old stuff. Getting up his gateway, simulator, etc. And Sting will probably be doing the early expand, so let's go ahead and speed it up and get to things that are interesting. Yeah. So, a lot of people basically say you 1-gate early expand or die trying. There's no other style to play against Terran. This is one of the maps where I actually feel like that is somewhat not true, just given the interesting formations that we have here at the front. We have these nice defensive spots. You can do some interesting stuff with warp prisms early on, but for the most part, yeah. You pretty much just do your straight up early expandage. So talking about things from the creator point of view, oh, by the way, this bug drives me crazy, where it doesn't change the color of the minerals. Let me see, how do we change this? Let's go to Sting, and then back to creator. Alright, cool. Haha, now it's all green. There's some significant things to note about what this zealot means. What does this zealot mean in the grand scheme of things? For any early pressure, you must have this zealot. Warp gate research will finish around 6 minutes, and you can have generally 4 units out from this gateway. If you skip this first zealot, you can only really have 3 units out from this gateway. There are some special builds that will let you get 5 units out of the gateway before warp gate research is done, but you have to spend some chrono boosts on the gateway. So most typically, you really truly do have to get this first zealot up to deal with some forms of early pressure. So many immediately I see in chat asking, well, why? When do you not get the zealot? You don't get the zealot if you just get a good scout on early on. This is what people are really scouting for when they're starting off dem games.
I'm here in the shadows.
But on some maps, in particular maps with big, wide open entrances, a lot of times it's totally fine to get the first zealot up. We see players like Sting will get a little overeager and get greedy like this, right? He's getting his barracks, then 2 more, and then getting double gas before he ends up getting his bunker. That can be quite frustrating. I think I'm going to turn it back to my blue color. Yeah, I like blue. This can be quite frustrating to deal with as a Protoss. And the appropriate response, if you're a Protoss bear, is to either go crazy power mode and build one Stalker and power your heart out, or it's to get aggressive right out the bat. So this is the moment where I was just like, Creator! Oh my god, Creator! No one does this. No one really gets a third Stalker. Nobody gets a third Stalker. Nobody gets a third Stalker. Why is that? Well, because we need to build up sentry energy to be able to be defensive at the start of the game. The Zealot in the middle, not really doing too much. Creator's just doing the poke, and a good etiquette. Don't run up the middle of the ramp, run up one of the edges of the ramp to do that little investigating. This was terrible. So that's totally embarrassing and bad and horrible in all ways, and we want to avoid it, quite simply. Yeah. Creator really hasn't been cutting down on too many probes. As a general technique, if you don't know what's up, you get the Robo Facility. I'm going to speed it up. I'm going to speed it up to do things that are interesting. In Creator's shoes, if I'm building those extra Stalkers up early, I kind of like the idea of going for Blink as a nice transition. Some cool stuff. And per usual, we see the sentries start to pop up a little bit earlier. Or a little bit later, excuse me. I actually meant the exact opposite of what I said. But what we're seeing right now is another super interesting defensive technique that hasn't really popped up for a long time. For the last few months, it's been kind of exclusively sentry-based defense, and I like this. The Creator's kind of doing the out-of-the-box style thinking on maps where, how would I describe it? If the retreat terrain is favorable, many players have started to overbuild the Stalkers at the start. In particular, get 2 Stalkers, not the third one like we saw Creator do, which was a little nuts. But we see get 2 Stalkers out, and this helps deal with pretty much any early Marine push. And obviously, we could go for things like the standard sentry defense and not worry about it. But this helps provide kind of an early warning signal. As the siren goes off. Yeah, the coppers! That siren is unusually loud today. Come on. Alright, now it's getting quiet again. Good. Now all we hear is the pleasant hum of the washing machine in my house. At this point in the game, this is sort of an interesting reveal that we can get a lot of information from. We're really going to see one of 3 things. One is we'll see a lot of Marines move out at the start. A lot meaning Marines from 5 barracks. Sting only has 3. This is not a lot. We would probably have about 4 to 5 more with this push. So if you have these Stalkers positioned here, you can get an excellent idea of the 5 barracks production that's there. A lot of times, if you have one Stalker, he'll move out with some of his Marines, hide some of them in the back, and your one Stalker is forced to run. But if you have 2 to 3 Stalkers at the front, he's forced to bring a lot more of his Marines because you'll just kite it with these Stalkers. So that's situation 1, that he's going 5 racks. Situation 2 is he's going 3 racks with fast add-ons, like getting like Tech Lab, Reactor, Tech Lab. And in this case, you won't see anything for a little while, but then you'll start to see a lot of Marine Marauder move out around 8:30 or so. And if you don't see that, then you know that there's some sort of big tech coming up with the medevacs. You know there's that big medevac tech incoming at around 10. So it's a nice little reveal. This is unusual and very cool nonetheless. See a little snipe on the observer. This happens with a lot of frequency, but again, these 2 Stalkers will always be able to see this maneuvering forward force, so that'll help a lot. This is kind of total BS. This should not happen. This shouldn't happen at all. Oh yeah, I gotta note another pretty significant thing that's coming back here. Yeah, the gas timing. Alright, so you heard me talk about sentry defense at the start. That is, like, really common. This is increasingly becoming the common gas timing as well, after these two gateways are down. But I want you to notice something magical that happens. In terms of all of our timings, we get our robo facility down quite early. We're transferring down here. For anyone who's ever played Protoss and has really been under pressure, you just feel like you have no gas, ever. You're just feeling gas cramped always. 6:30 for a double assimilator is quite an early timing. We need gas for our sentries, we need gas for the robo facility, gas for the observer, gas for the Colossus, gas for the building that lets us get the Colossus, the robotics bay. But again, with this 2-stalker defense, this is 100 gas that we're spending to be a spotter. And it's this back home play that I think just impresses me so damn much about Creator. Look at this, making 2 more stalkers upon seeing this Marine push. Again, we got a little bit of BS information right here. But Stim ain't going to be done until 10 minutes, no matter how much you want. No matter how much you try and beg, you're never going to get Stim before around 9:30 or so in this matchup if you early expand. So look at this, he's actually building stalkers. And suddenly we're starting to see the benefit of this first Zealot. It all comes kind of full circle in this very moment. We're going for stalkers early on, so that way we can have enough gas to get this Robo Bay up. And of course get 2 observers and our Colossus started. And look, we still have a good, we don't actually have that much gas, but we're doing everything at quite an accelerated pace. We have these 4 stalkers that can help us deal with an early push from basic barracks units. And this Zealot acts like a little teensy tiny force field. Little teensy tiny deensy force field. So yeah. You know, someone in chat pointed out something that kind of totally cracks me up. He said, because I said you're never really going to get Stim out before 9:30. You're never really going to get Stim out before 9:30. And we clearly see that Stim's going to be done by 8:45. Yeah. Aw, yeah. 2 things that I'll note about this. When I say this sort of general timing, when I'm like, yeah, 9:30, you're never really going to have Stim, this kind of includes having a good amount of units along with it, and like your medevacs along with it too. So, if you look where's the timing? Yeah, we have our starport 50 seconds away, and then medevacs take about a minute. So this is where the other extra 2 minutes comes from in that little equation. So he's either going to have Stim and medevacs and not that many units, or Stim and no medevacs and a lot of units. And that's the sort of other case that I was trying to refer to that I apparently wasn't saying clearly at all. Players will do this thing where they'll go 3 racks, get a lot of add-ons, go for the double tech lab, go for the reactor, and then be doing a big push without medevacs, and that happens around 9:30. So that's the timing I'm referring to. Yeah. In this circumstance, in a minute, Terran's still not going to have a particularly gigantic army. But one thing that is significant to note is that it used to be closer to 10, these sorts of timings. But it's getting more like 9:30, 9:15 because of these greedy plays that Terran are doing where they go for their extra barracks and their double gas before getting a bunker. Like, here's the greedy play, yeah, and then throwing down these 2 gas and never getting a bunker. Ever! Never! It's a good way to accelerate the pace of things a little bit. So what we're going to do now is step away to a break. And when we come back, we're going to finish up this game, hopefully, about halfway done. I'll review what's so awesome at the start. Hope you're enjoying this Sleepy Cast in Day 9 Daily number 492. I'm so relieved that I'm just going to be home for 2 months And all I have to do is make dailies, and all I have to do is play with subscribers. There's going to be tons of subscriber events in the next 2 months. I'm so sorry I've been traveling. How rude of me. It shall change. Yes! Yeah! Now let's listen to the amazing Aquatic Reverie album from Blue Sky Black Death.